Good morning, dear students. In previous class, we discussed regarding data types, system tasks, and compiler directives. So, in continuation with the rest of the module, we'll be going ahead with modules and ports. So, this is what we'll be discussing in the coming fourth sessions. So, previously we discussed regarding the basic concepts. In continuation with these things, we'll be continuing with modules and ports discussion. So already we had discussed what is meant by module, what are ports. So it is a kind of refresher kind of thing, what will be going ahead. So first of all, what is a module? So it is the basic building block of the Verilog. So if you have to define, say, any entity or any module, you have to make use of a keyword, what we call as module. So these all things we had discussed in the previous sessions. So module, it is the basic building block using which you will build a Verilog code and using which the entire system will be built. Now, it here what we can have is we can have the element or collection of the lower level design blocks. So previously we had studied that we have top level, then bottom level, and leaf level cells. So we had discussed these things. So either you go from top down approach, or top down approach, or bottom up approach in the design methodology. So when I just consider if this is the entire system, then it is nothing but it is a collection of lower level design blocks. So these are the lower level design blocks what we have. So this together is giving me the entire system. So that is what we define as the top level. Or it can just be a single element. Say I want to implement a AND gate. So I can just use this part. So and I can implement it. So that itself becomes a building block. So either it can be a single element or it can be a combination of lower level elements in order to implement the higher level implementation. So which will be giving me the entire thing. So that is this is what I have discussed in the diagram what I represented. Then module basically provides functionality which are required for the higher level blocks, and that is done with the help of the port interface. So in previous sessions we had seen that we had written as module name, and then we had some list over there. So with the help of this keyword, with the help of this name and the list of the ports, so these are called as the ports, so which will be utilized for building the entire module. So we'll be seeing what it is again with an example. So module basically provides the necessary functionality in order to build the higher level blocks with the help of the lower level blocks and also the list of interfaces which are required, which is obtained through the ports. But what happens is since we are building the system, so what happens is suppose you are giving some input, say for example A and B, and you have written the module within, you have written the entire module, and you are obtaining some result over here. Say it may be any operation or some say A plus B you are doing here. So how this implementation is done? That is nowhere concerned to the external part. So you're basically hiding the implementation part. So you will be doing the entire thing, but how it is done, you are hiding it. So that is what you are looking out for. So for a user, it is just providing these two inputs and getting the result. How that implementation, that is the internal details are present, that is not provided in module. So, but you'll be implementing those in this case. Now here, what happens is, for example, if I just taken this thing now, user is giving input and he is expecting the output. Now, how you are going to add these two numbers? Say, for example, I am just taking the adder over here. How you are going to implement it? So it will be given in this module. So if you want to say today you are directly using say now some number 0, 1 and 1, 0, and you are using it in binary form. So result is 1, 1. So that result is presented to the user. Now how this addition is implemented, so is left up to you, whether you want to add it in this form or whether you want to make some conversion and then add it. Say whether you want to take 2's complement and 2's complement of these numbers and then add it. So it all depends on how you want to go ahead. So that is left up to you. So now without 2's complement, you have done it. You have done it and you are getting the result. But tomorrow what you do is you make some changes, and instead of using the direct numbers, you take 2's complement and you add the numbers. So when you're doing this, the user who is present here is not disturbed. He can just give the inputs and he'll get the result. So that is what you are trying to establish in this case. So here, so module basically hides the internal implementation. That is what we spoke, how it is implemented. And also we can modify the way the module has been utilized. That is here I specified that use the numbers directly in your implementation or use 2's complement and then add it. So this is how you can go ahead. So this is, you can modify it, and it will not be affecting the users who are using this entire module. So now in previous listing we had discussed regarding ripple carry counter. So ripple carry counter is the top level block which can be built using T flip-flops. So here there are 4 T flip-flops. It implies that it is a 4-bit ripple carry counter. You are implementing a 4-bit ripple carry. So this is the top level block. This is the lower level block. So T flip-flop in turn can be built using the D flip-flop and the inverter. The inverter. So now we are assuming that D flip-flop is not having a Q bar state in it, Q bar output. So because of that, we need an inverter. So here we assume that this is the last level which is present, which cannot be decomposed further. So these are called as leaf level cells. If you remember this, these are called as leaf level cells. So leaf level cells cannot be further subdivided. So if I have to implement the ripple carry counter, I can build it using the T flip-flop. But in order to build the T flip-flop, I can make use of D flip-flop and the inverter. So these are the sub blocks which are helping us. This is the sub blocks. These are the sub blocks, but this is the last level. So we call it as leaf level cells. So here we need to define these things, right? So these are nothing but modules which will be defining in Verilog. And we have seen the examples also in previous sessions. So next we discuss regarding how modules are being defined. So modules are declared with the help of the keyword is termed as module. And if I want to terminate or end the module, I make use of the keyword end module. So this is how I start the module, that is declare a module and end the module. So this is how these are the keywords what I'll be using. Now here, as we see that each module must have some specifications, that is, there should be a module name associated with it. So I start the module and the module, but some relation has to be there. So what we do is we should have some module name so that I can utilize it. So this acts as an identifier. This acts as an identifier. So and we should have module terminal list. If it is there, we will be providing. We need to provide these terminal list or the port. So terminal, or sometimes we call it as port. So here terminals can be input, output, or it can be both, in out. So if they are there, we will be providing these information. So this is an example of how a module is defined in Verilog. So already we have discussed regarding these things. So module is the keyword which specifies that it is the start of the module. This module has been started, and end module indicates that this module terminates at this point. And in between I'll be having say whatever logic specification you want, you'll be having those in whatever abstraction level you want. whether we want gate level abstraction or behavioral level abstraction, so that you can implement over here. Now this module what we have, so will be identified by this name, so module name, so which is nothing but a identifier. It is the identifier what I'll be using. So in this module, if some terminal lists or port lists are required, then those lists I'll be providing over here. So if there are, this list can be empty. If nothing is there, it can be empty. So we'll check out when it is empty, when it is non-empty in the coming forth slides. So this is how a module will be defined. So next one, we have another example what we will just check out. So this was the case, this was the general example. So when we come to that ripple carry counter, right? So we had seen that a ripple carry counter can be built from T flip-flop, and in turn T flip-flop can be built from the D flip-flop and the inverter. So here what we are doing, so we saw that here we saw that these are the modules. So we need to define these. So how do we define it? So we define it in this form. So we use the keyword module and end module. So T underscore flip flop is the module name. It is the module name, Q, clock, and reset. These are the terminal list or the port list. So if I just see, Q is output, clock is input, and reset is input. So that will be declaring using the keywords. So this is how the module is declared in Verilog. So you have module name, terminal list, module keyword, and end module keyword. So these are the things. Now what we have to look out is what basically a module will consist of, how we can just separate it. So we can see that we have different things available here. So what we had in the previous case, we had module, then we had given the module name, then the port list, then the port list. So that is the first part what you can just observe. So we have module name, port list, port declaration. If ports are present, then the parameters if they are present. So we'll be defining these ports. So this is what it consists of. So here if I just check out, so what I'll be having module name, then the port list. Then I should specify whether it is input, output, in, out. So that is what we'll be specifying. So this is the first part. So last part, if you just check, it is the termination of the module. So that is end module statement what we'll be having. So that is what we have represented here. So this is the first part. This is the last part. Now in between we can have some parameters declared over there. So we'll just check out what are those. So we can see that here we have total 5 elements which are present. So these are the distinct parts. Part 1, 2, 3 I can just specify. So this is first, second, and third. In the first one, we'll be having these all details. In the last one, it is the end module statement. In between, I have these 5 elements. Using these 5 elements, I'll be implementing the logic, whatever is required. So we can have declarations which are related to wires, registers, and other variables. Then we can have the data flow implementation, so which is related to data flow level of abstraction. Then we have behavioral level of abstraction, which will be given by this part. And then we have another one parameter, which is called as instantiation. So what is instantiation? Suppose you have declared a module M1, a module has been declared, and there is another module M2. In this, I want to use M1. So what I do is I declare a variable or a parameter which is related to M1. So we basically call it as an object. So object which is related to M1. So this is nothing but having an instance of M1, having an instance of M1 or creating an instance of M1. So whenever we do that, we'll be having the instances of the lower level abstractions, lower level modules, what we have. So here, this is first, second, we have 3 and 4, and last one is the tasks and the functions what are required. So suppose you want to display something. So you have to use dollar display. So we had discussed this regarding this in yesterday's class. So these are the different parts which are present in the entire module of a Verilog. So three parts. That is the first one module, name and port list, then the end module statement, and these 5 elements. So you can just see part 1, part 2, part 3. So Verilog is basically consisting of these 3 parts. And in this one, what we have total 5 components in the Verilog module, that is in the part 2. So declaration, data flow statements, behavioral statements, and instantiation and tasks and functions. So these are the things what are available. So this is again a kind of recap what we'll be having. So module is always defined with the keyword module, and it is terminated with the keyword end module. So previously what all we saw in the figure, right? The same thing will be just discussing over here. So what are the different parts which are present? The first part, that is module name, port list, port declaration, which is the first thing which comes when we are declaring or defining a module. And under this, we'll be having the port list or the terminal list and the declarations which are relevant, either input, output, or whether it is both. If no ports are available, then these things won't be coming. These things won't be present. Then we have the 5 components what we specified, that is variable declaration space what we have, then the data flow statements, then the instantiation which is required for the lower level modules, then behavioral blocks, and the lastly tasks or the functions. Then here what happens is the components what we are speaking of. So these things. They can be in any order. It is not that we have to post this first, this second, this third. So not like that. It can be in any order. But generally is you see that you follow some coding style when you are writing the code. So the components can be in any order, and what happens is, and it can be placed at any uh, in the module definition, at any place in the module definition. It is not restricted that it should come at this location itself. So it is that in any order it can come. This can be first, this can be second, so this can be third, this can be fourth, fifth. So it can change over there, and these things can appear anywhere in the module when you are declaring it. That is here when we are using it, right? I can use it anywhere. I can have the declaration here. I can have the say tasks and functions defined here. So anywhere I can have, and the ordering also doesn't matter. So module definition gets terminated by using the keyword end module. Now here another few things to just check out is which parts are compulsory and which are not compulsory. So using the keyword module and the end module, if you just observe, this is compulsory. And along with that, we also have to provide the module name. I just cannot have something as module, then no name is there, then direct port list, then end module. I cannot just have this. I can have module, end module, and I should have a module name. So these three are compulsorily required for a module. So even if it is blank, it is okay. Even if it is blank within, it is okay. So you have a module, module name and end module. So these are the elements which are required. So I cannot skip them. It is compulsory and must. Others can be optional. If you want declarations, you can have declarations. If you don't want, you can avoid them. It can be totally empty. So later you want to use it, you can use it. So all these possibilities are present. Okay. So next, so modules can be defined in any order in the file. So that is, you can define the module D flip-flop first and then module T flip-flop. But how you are building it, it depends on the utilization, whether you're going from top-down or bottom-up approach, how you are using them. So next, so let us look at an example of SR latch. So here, if you just look at the SR flip-flop, right, or SR latch. So what we have, the inputs to this system are SR, that is S and R, set and reset are the input, and Q and Q bar are the output. So we define these are the input ports and these are the output ports for this SR latch module. So this is the example what we can look out here. Okay. So what we have, module SR latch. So this is a keyword. This is the module name. Then we have the say terminal or the port list. Terminal or the port list. So this is the list. Then here we have the declarations. So in declarations, we specify which is input, which is output. Okay. So here we can see that output is Q and Q bar. So you can just check over here. And input is S bar and R bar. So that is what he has taken over here. Input is S bar and R bar. So these are just identifiers. S bar, R bar. This is identifier. So this is the first part. If you just see module, module name, port list, port declaration. That is the first part what we had seen. And in the last part, it is nothing but the end module statement. So that is the third part what we had seen. So in between these things, we have the rest of the stuff. Either we go for creating the instance of the lower levels or we go for declaring the variables, we go for declaration of the wire reg. So those all things. So here we can see what we are doing is we are creating an instance of NAND. So NAND is actually present in the Verilog entity. It is present in the Verilog this thing library. So we'll be using it NAND. N1 is the instance of NAND. N1 is the instance of NAND. Or sometimes we also call it as N1 is the object which is related to NAND. Here N2 is also object related to NAND, or sometimes we specify it as N2 is the instance of NAND. So for this one, what we are doing, we are providing this port list. So where S bar and Q bar are the input and Q is the output. So if you just see what is N1 here, N1 is the NAND gate. What is the input to this? Input to this is S bar and R bar. And what is the sorry, not R bar. So S bar is the input, and here you can see that this is coming as the input to this one. So it is Q bar is the input. So these two are the input to this instance of the NAND gate. And what is the output? Q is the output. So this is how it goes around. So this is the syntax how you have to use it. So Q is the output. These two are the input. Similarly for N2, it is N1. It is N2. N2 what we have? We have R bar as input and we have Q as input. So these two are the inputs to this one and output is Q bar. So again N2. N2 is the instance for this one. Q bar is the output. Provided input is Q and R bar. So this is how it operates around. So this is telling you how it is connected. So when I represent it, I'll have it as N1. So this is the output. So this should give me output this one and S bar and Q bar. I know this, we know this because that is the syntax how it is used. So this is how it is used. It is like you have a function, you know what parameters have to be sent to that and in which order. Okay, so that is how we can estimate it. So this is relevant to the SR latch. Now here we have something called as module top. So it is called the stimulus. What is stimulus we had discussed. So in this one, what we have, so this is also a module, but it is having no parameters. If you just see, this one is not having any parameters or is not having any port list. It is not having any port list. So here what we have declared wire Q and Q bar, which are related to this one. And remember, it will be in tri-state when it is not connected. It is in tri-state when it is not connected. And reg, that is register data type, what we have set and reset. If the value is not known, it will be in X form. So this discussions we had. So we have wire Q and Q bar, reg, this is register data type. This is net data type, and this is registered data type, set and reset. Now what we are doing here, this is the top level module. So this entire thing is related to the top level module. So here what we are doing is, so this one I call it as top. So it is not having any input, no input, no output. Therefore I'm not having any port list over here. But this one is a module and it is having inputs and outputs. So based on that, you have these things. So but in this one, I don't have that. So port declarations also not there. We have declarations of wire, reg and other variables. We do not have declaration of or instance creation of the other things. So here we can see that we have SR latch. So SR latch is what? It is the name of this module. It is the name of this module. So this SR latch, what we are doing, we are creating an instance of it. So M1 is an instance of SR latch, or M1 is an object which is related to SR latch. And what are the parameters you have to pass? You have to pass Q or the port list or the terminal list, Q, Q bar, S bar, and R bar. So we have declared these things here. So I'll be using those Q, Q bar, set. Since we have specified as it as set and reset, what we are doing is, since it is expecting S bar and Q bar, we'll be negating those things and sending it. That is, I'll be taking the inversion of that. This is set bar, this is reset bar. So that will be passed over here. Now here you can see that after that, so once I do this, what happens is, uh, based on this entire thing, this is what the implementation will be looking like. So it is like you are taking the components and you are interconnecting them. You're taking the components and interconnecting them. That is what is happening in this case. So you have created M1 instance. It takes all these parameters or it takes all these ports and it builds the circuit. It builds the circuit. So that circuit will be appearing like this. So I have N1, N2, N1 and N2, and this is how it will be built. So once that is that we have got here, we can see that we have used something as initial and always we have those things. So here we are making use of initial. So again, we have, this is a system task. This is a system task. What it does, it monitors the variables and if any changes happen, it displays it. So here it displays the time. So this is also a system task. So which gets the current time of the system. So then what you have, set, what is its value in binary, reset, what is its value in binary, Q, what is its value in binary, and then a new line statement. So here the parameters you need to pass, set for this one, reset this parameter, and Q for this parameter. So here after every 5 units, so initially you are setting it both after every 5 units, what you're doing is you are making reset is equal to 1. So next 5 units reset 0. Next 5 units, set is equal to 1. So based on the logic, right, SR this thing. So if it is 0, 0, Q will be 0, 0, 1, Q will be set, reset. If it is 1, 0, Q will be 1, and if it is 1, 1, it will be a toggle condition or the state will be unknown. So this we sometimes write it as Q. Q will be retaining its previous state. So based on this, I can see what results I might be getting. So this is the last statement, that is the end module. So here we can see that this is lower level module, a lower level block, and this is the top level block. This is the top level block. Here I have the port list, but in this case I don't have the port list. Here I have port declaration. Here I do not have the port declaration. But if you just observe, compulsorily I should have a module keyword, module name, and end module. So here also you can see module, module name, and end module. In between, you can have anything which is possible, or else it can also be blank. So some of the characteristics what you can note down is specified below. First one, in the SR latch definition, what we just checked out in the previous this thing example, we can see that we do not find variable declarations or data flow statements in SR latch. So that is what I was highlighting over there. So these are optional. If you want, you can use it if it is required. Otherwise, you can skip it. Next, we can see that in stimulus block, we do not have few of the things like port list and port declarations. We do not have that. But we have module name, wire, variable, all these things are declared over there. So these are present. These are not present in that case. Data flow is also not present. So these are just a few observations which you can make from the previous examples. I can also we saw that module name, and end module uh, are not optional. Are not optional. So if I just read the statement, all parts except these are optional. We can have the mixture of the other stuff. These three are must. If you don't provide this, then I cannot tell that it is a module. So this is all for today. Let us meet in the next session, in which we'll be discussing regarding the ports. Okay. So any query from your end?